A crack formed across the fabric of reality, silent, impossible, and glowing with power no world was prepared to understand. It appeared 3,000 feet above Times Square at 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, a jagged tear in space that bled purple fire and cosmic radiation. For exactly 3 seconds, New York looked up in confusion. Phones emerged from pockets, cameras turned skyward. Then something came through. The Spazfrag 666 screamed out of the dimensional rift like a bullet fired from Hell's own chamber. The spacefaring motorcycle, all chrome spikes, oversized engine blocks, and weaponized bad taste, trailed flames that weren't quite fire and smoke that defied physics. Straddling the machine was a figure that made every super in the tri-state area's blood run cold without knowing why. Lobo, the main man, the Beau, the last Zarnian in any universe, didn't so much land as crash with apocalyptic prejudice. The motorcycle hit the LED billboards of Vought Tower at terminal velocity, exploding through advertisements for the Seven's latest merchandise line. Glass, steel, and corporate propaganda vaporized. The bike corkscrewed through 3 floors of executive offices, sending VPs and shareholders screaming before punching through the opposite wall and dropping toward the street below. The main man hit pavement hard enough to crack it in a 30-foot radius. Car alarms shrieked, steam rose from the crater, and slowly, deliberately, Lobo stood up, brushing flaming debris off his leather vest like it was cigarette ash. He was 7 feet of pale, corpse-white skin stretched over slabs of muscle that made Olympic athletes look malnourished. His eyes glowed red in the New York night, not metaphorically, but with actual bioluminescent fury. Black hair hung in a wild mane past his shoulders, and his face bore the kind of scars that told a simple story. Everything that had tried to kill him had failed. Chains hung from his studded leather, each one a trophy. Hooks, knives, and weapons of uncertain alien origin decorated his belt. "Fraggin' portal tech," Lobo growled, his voice like gravel being chewed by a garbage disposal. He spat something glowing and toxic onto the concrete, which immediately began to sizzle. Told that cyber bastich the coordinates were off. He looked up at the tower he'd just violated. 90 stories of glass and steel crowned with a massive illuminated 7 logo. Even now, the building's defensive protocols were activating. Automated systems designed to handle soup threats, corporate espionage, terrorist attacks. They had never encountered something like Lobo. Inside Vought Tower's Crisis Management Center, screens exploded with alerts. Ashley Barrett, her hair somehow even more stressed than usual, stared at the footage with the expression of someone watching her career commit suicide. "What the fuck is that?" she shrieked at the security team. "Why isn't Homelander down there? Why isn't anyone down there?" On the monitors, Lobo reached back and pulled out a weapon from the Spazfrag's storage. It looked like someone had crossbred a shotgun with a particle accelerator and added spite. He checked the charge, grinned with teeth filed to points, and started walking toward the tower's entrance. "Ma'am, our systems can't identify him," a technician stammered. "He's not in any database, military, international, super registry. It's like he doesn't exist." "Then make him stop existing," Ashley screamed. "Do we still have A-Train? Get me A-Train. Get me somebody." 3 blocks away, in a surveillance van that smelled like stale coffee and Frenchie's latest chemical experiment, the boys watched the same footage on stolen Vought feeds. "Fuck me," Billy Butcher breathed, leaning forward with an expression that was equal parts horror and fascination. "That's not Compound V. That's something else entirely." Mother's Milk adjusted his monitoring equipment, his hands steady despite the readings. "Radiation's off the charts. Heat signatures inhuman. Boss, whatever that thing is, it just punched through Vaught's defenses like they were paper." "Magnifique," Frenchie whispered, eyes wide with scientific curiosity. "The molecular disruption alone. Is everyone missing the massive fucking problem?" Huey interrupted, his voice climbing toward panic. "That thing just fell out of the sky and walked away. What if it's, I don't know, here to destroy the city?" Kimiko, silent as always, signed rapidly. Frenchie translated. She says it moves like a predator, not random, hunting." Butcher's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then smiled. The dangerous smile that meant terrible ideas were forming. "Grace Mallory's people just ID'd the bike. It ain't from Earth, mates, not our Earth anyway. And according to some very worried CIA analysts," he looked back at the screen, where Lobo had just kicked open Vought Tower's main entrance hard enough to send the reinforced doors flying 50 feet. "We might have ourselves a proper alien." On the tower's 72nd floor, in a penthouse that commanded a view of his personal kingdom, Homelander stood at the window with his arms crossed. His blue eyes tracked the intruder's progress with the cold attention of an apex predator spotting competition. "Sir?" Ashley's voice crackled through the intercom. "We need you to—" "I can hear everything, Ashley," Homelander interrupted, his voice carrying that dangerous sing-song quality that meant someone was about to die. "I can hear his heartbeat. I can hear him laughing. I can hear—" He tilted his head, superhuman senses pushing beyond normal limits. "I can hear his blood. It's wrong. All wrong." Whatever had just entered his city wasn't natural, wasn't normal. And Homelander didn't like things he couldn't immediately understand. "Tell the Seven to stand down," he said quietly. "I'll handle this personally." Below, Lobo walked through Vought Tower's lobby like a tourist from hell. Security guards opened fire, standard protocol, useless gesture. Bullets sparked off his skin like raindrops. He didn't even flinch, just kept walking toward the elevators with his alien weapon resting on one massive shoulder. "All right, you corporate fraggers," he announced to the screaming, fleeing employees. "The main man's got a bounty to collect. Interdimensional fugitive, shapeshifting bastard, probably wearing one of your pretty faces. So here's how this works. Stay out of my way, and you might live. Get in my way." His grin widened, red eyes blazing. "And I'll show you what real power looks like." The elevator dinged pleasantly. The doors opened. Lobo stepped inside and hit the button for the executive floors. If you want to see more universe crossovers, hit subscribe and comment which character or world you want to see collide next. Somewhere far above, Homelander was already descending to meet him. This was going to be fun. The elevator music was an instrumental version of some sanitized pop song, corporate approved, focus grouped to cause minimal offense. Lobo stood in the center of the confined space, head tilted back, eyes closed, looking almost peaceful. For 17 floors, he listened to the synthesized garbage with the patience of a predator conserving energy. Then, he ripped the speaker out of the ceiling and crushed it in one hand. "Fraggin' torture," he muttered. The elevator climbed past the 20th floor when Lobo's nostrils flared. His eyes snapped open, glowing brighter. Something was descending toward him, fast. Something that thought it was dangerous. On the 47th floor, Homelander dropped through the building like a missile in reverse, punching through floor after floor with casual contempt for architecture. Concrete, steel, office furniture, all vaporized in his wake. He landed in the elevator shaft, 3 floors above Lobo's position, cape settling around his shoulders with cinematic precision. Their eyes met through the elevator's ceiling panel. For one moment, they simply stared at each other. Homelander, golden god of America, draped in red, white, and blue, face chiseled from propaganda and narcissism. Lobo, nightmare given flesh, chains, and leather, and barely restrained violence. "You picked the wrong planet, freak," Homelander said, voice dripping with that folksy, all-American menace he'd perfected over decades of murder. Lobo's grin could have stripped paint. "You smell like Compound V, fake tan, and daddy issues. You ain't my target, Boy Scout. So step aside before you embarrass yourself." Homelander's jaw tightened. The smile stayed plastered on his face. It always did. But his eyes went flat and cold. Nobody talked to him like that. Nobody. "I'm going to pull out your spine and—" He didn't finish the threat. Lobo moved with speed that shouldn't have been possible for something his size. 1 second he was standing in the elevator. The next, his fist had punched through the ceiling and caught Homelander by the throat, yanking him down through the metal roof with enough force to derail the entire cable system. They fell together, a meteor of violence plummeting down the shaft. Homelander's heat vision activated on reflex, twin beams of superheated energy that could cut through steel, that had decapitated terrorists and melted tanks. They hit Lobo square in the face. The main man didn't even blink. "That tickles," Lobo said, then headbutted Homelander with Xanian bone density behind it. The impact echoed through the tower like a bomb. Homelander's nose shattered, actually broke, for the first time since childhood. Blood, genuine blood, streamed down his face as they crashed into the lobby floor, the impact cratering marble and buckling support structures. Lobo landed on top, knee on Homelander's chest, one hand still wrapped around his throat. The other pulled back for another hit. Lesson 1, Blondie. Real power don't come from a fraggin' needle. He drove his fist down. Homelander caught it inches from his face, muscles straining, eyes wide with something he hadn't felt in 30 years. Physical fear. They grappled in the crater, superhuman strength against alien biology. Homelander kicked up and out, sending Lobo flying through the lobby and into the street beyond. Cars crumpled under the impact. Screaming pedestrians scattered. Homelander rose, wiping blood from his face, staring at it with genuine confusion. Around them, phone cameras captured everything. This was going out live, raw, unfiltered, unspinnable. "What are you?" Homelander demanded. Lobo stood up from the wreckage of a taxi, cracking his neck with sound like breaking timber. The hole in his vest where heat vision had struck was already regenerating, pale flesh knitting together in real time. "The name's Lobo, ya pompous bastich, and I'm the main man, which means I'm the best at what I do." He pulled a massive hook chain from his belt, which is killin' things what need killin'. He swung the chain. It moved like a living thing wrapping around Homelander's leg, and Lobo yanked hard enough to flip the world's strongest soupy off his feet. Homelander crashed through a storefront, some boutique selling 7 merchandise that immediately became worthless collectibles. Inside Vought's crisis center, Ashley watched her entire career implode in real time. "Spin options!" she shrieked. "Give me spin options!" "Ma'am, he's bleeding," someone said quietly. "Homelander's bleeding. On camera. Everyone's seeing this." The room went silent. In the world of the 7, that was the only truth that mattered. The illusion was cracking. Outside, Homelander emerged from the wreckage, face twisted in rage that had nothing to do with heroism and everything to do with narcissistic collapse. His heat vision lanced out, not controlled, not precise, but wild. Buildings caught fire, cars exploded, people died. Lobo weaved through the destruction with practiced ease, laughing like a maniac because this was finally getting interesting. He closed the distance, and they collided in the middle of Times Square like dueling gods. Except one was a genuine article, and the other was a lab-grown knockoff. Punch. Counterpunch. Heat vision met alien weapon fire. The LED screens above them shorted out, raining sparks and glass. Every blow Homelander landed, Lobo shrugged off. Every hit Lobo returned left. Homelander more battered, more desperate. "Ya ain't special, pretty boy," Lobo growled, catching Homelander's fist and twisting his arm at an angle that made bones creak. "You're just another fraggin' experiment that got above its station. I've killed gods, real ones. You're just a roided-up monkey in a cape." Homelander screamed, rage and humiliation and terror blending together, and grabbed Lobo's head with both hands. His heat vision poured out at maximum intensity, point blank, sustained. The heat was enough to melt tungsten, to vaporize bone. Lobo's face began to char, skin blackened, eyes boiled. Then he grabbed Homelander's wrists and pulled the soup's hands away from his head. His face was already regenerating, flesh growing back over exposed skull, eyes reforming in their sockets. "My turn," Lobo said. He drove Homelander into the pavement hard enough to create a second crater. Then he raised his fist for a killing blow and paused. His nostrils flared again. That scent, the one he was tracking. It was close, in the tower, moving. "Ah, fraggot," Lobo said, looking down at the dazed, bleeding Homelander. "You're boring anyway. We'll finish this later, Boy Scout." He left Homelander in the crater and turned back toward Vought Tower, where his actual target was trying to slip away in the chaos. Behind him, Homelander lay in the ruins, bleeding and broken, while 1,000 cameras captured his humiliation. The world's greatest hero, beaten in under 5 minutes. The safe house was a shithole, which was the point. 3 stories of condemned Brooklyn real estate that officially didn't exist, surrounded by buildings empty enough that screaming wouldn't draw attention. The boys had 17 locations like this scattered across the city. After tonight's display in Times Square, they'd need every single one. Butcher kicked open the door with his boot, gun drawn, eyes scanning the darkness with practiced paranoia. "Clear. Get inside. Move." Mother's Milk entered first, tactical gear ready, followed by Huey hauling equipment cases that were definitely too heavy for him. Frenchie came next, already muttering calculations about alien physiology. Kimiko slipped in last, silent as death, closing the door behind them. "Right," Butcher said, dropping his duffel bag on a table that had seen better decades. Get the feeds running. Frenchie, I need every scrap of intel on our new friend. Huey, stop looking like you're about to shit yourself. It ain't helpful." "Butcher, that thing destroyed Homelander," Huey said, his voice climbing toward hysteria. "Homelander? The guy we've been trying to kill for years just got his ass kicked in front of the entire world." "Exactly." Butcher's smile was predatory, which means we've got ourselves an opportunity. Looked up from his laptop, expression hard. "Boss, we don't even know what that thing wants. Could be here to conquer Earth. Could be here to eat us. We got zero intel and you're already planning to weaponize it?" "Course I am. That's what we do." Butcher pulled out a flask, took a pull, then set it down with decisive force. "That bastard in the cape has been untouchable since day one. Now something shows up that can make him bleed? Yeah, I'm gonna use it." "It's not an it," Frenchie interrupted, looking up from his tablet. "According to the CIA files Grace sent, heavily redacted of course, he has a name, Lobo, intergalactic bounty hunter, known across multiple star systems. The files suggest..." He paused, reading further, going pale. "Mon Dieu, they suggest he once killed his entire species, for fun." The room went quiet. "Fuck me," said softly. Kimiko signed rapidly. Frenchie translated. She asks, what could make something like that come to Earth? Before anyone could answer, the building's perimeter alarm started screaming. MM's fingers flew across his keyboard. "We got movement. Multiple contacts converging on our position. Vought security, Black Ops signatures." He stopped. "Wait, no. Just one contact." The feeds showed a figure approaching the safe house with the casual confidence of someone who knew exactly where they were going. Pale skin, chains, that distinctive shock of black hair. "Bollocks," Butcher muttered. "He tracked us." "Impossible," Frenchie said. "We have signal scramblers, thermal baffles, every countermeasure." The front door exploded inward. Lobo walked through the smoking wreckage like he owned the place, ducking slightly to fit his frame through the doorway. His red eyes swept across the boys with the attention of a predator counting prey. In one hand, he held something that looked like a scanner built from salvaged starship parts. "Frag tracking tech," he said, waving the device. One of you's got an interdimensional signature marker. Real faint. Almost missed it." His gaze settled on Kimiko, who hadn't moved, hadn't reacted, just stared back with flat, dangerous eyes. Interesting. The quiet one's seen some shit. Butcher stepped forward, positioning himself between Lobo and his crew. "Right then, big man. You found us. Now what? You here to kill us? Or can we have a civilized chat first?" Lobo laughed, a sound like rocks in a blender. "I like you. Got stones. Stupid stones, but stones." He collapsed into a chair that creaked dangerously under his weight, propping his boots on the table. "Nah, I ain't here to kill ya. Yet. I'm here 'cause you're the only fraggers in this city who ain't either pissing themselves or trying to stick a camera in my face. Plus," he continued, pulling out a cigar that looked hand-rolled from something that definitely wasn't tobacco. "That Boy Scout I just embarrassed? He smells wrong. All these soups smell wrong. Fake. Like someone took baseline humans and juiced them up with chemical cocktails." He lit the cigar with his finger, which suddenly burned with blue flame. "Which means you probably know something about what I'm hunting." MM's tactical instincts kicked in. "And what exactly are you hunting?" "Shapeshifter. Interdimensional fugitive. Bastich jumped universes to dodge a bounty, ended up here." Lobo blew smoke that smelled like burning ozone. "Been tracking the son of a bitch for 3 systems. Trail went cold at your lovely shithole of a planet." Huey, who'd been frozen in terror, finally found his voice. "A shapeshifter. Like it could be anyone." "Anyone. Anything. Real fun at parties." Lobo's grin was full of filed teeth. "But they gotta tell. They emit a specific frequency when they shift. That's what my scanner picks up. And according to my readings, the Bastich has been hanging around your corporate tower up there. Probably wearing a suit, playing executive." Butcher's mind raced, connecting dots. Vought Tower. Someone high up enough to access sensitive areas. Someone who'd know about Compound V, soup operations. His eyes widened slightly. Someone who could manipulate the whole bloody company from inside. "Now you're thinking," Lobo said approvingly. Frenchie leaned forward. "If what you say is true, this shapeshifter could have influenced Vought's decisions for months, years even. Product launches, soup deployments, cover-ups." "Don't give a frag about your corporate drama," Lobo interrupted. "I'm here for the bounty. Dead or alive. Preferably dead, 'cause it's easier. But here's where it gets fun." He pointed the cigar at Butcher. "That Boy Scout's gonna be a problem. He's gonna want revenge. Gonna get in my way. So here's my offer. Help me get my target, and I'll let you watch me kill Homelander as a bonus." The room went silent again. It was the deal they'd been chasing for years, dropped in their laps by a genocidal alien bounty hunter who could actually deliver. "Why would you need our help?" MM asked carefully. "You just kicked Homelander's ass solo." "'Cause this planet's got 6 billion fragging people and my target's good, real good. Could be anyone in that tower, could be 10 people. Hell, could be one of you, and I wouldn't know till I ran a full bioscan." Lobo's eyes gleamed. "But you fraggers, you know Vought from inside. You got access, intel, and you're motivated." Butcher looked at his team. MM shook his head slightly. "Bad idea." Huey looked terrified. Frenchie seemed fascinated. Kimiko signed something. "He's honest about being a monster. That's more than the soups." "All right," Butcher said finally. "We help you find your shapeshifter. You help us with our Homelander problem. But we got rules." "I don't do rules." "Then we don't got a deal." They stared at each other. Then Lobo laughed again, genuine amusement. "All right, Tiny, what are your rules?" "No civilian casualties we can avoid. We pick the targets. And when this is done, You leave Earth and don't come back. Lobo considered this, then shrugged. Deal. Now let's talk strategy, 'cause tomorrow we're walking right back into that tower, and things are gonna get bloody. Outside, across the city, Homelander pulled himself from the crater, covered in blood and broken pride. He could still hear them, the cameras, the whispers, the world watching him lose. Someone was going to pay for that. Everyone was going to pay. Ashley Barrett hadn't slept in 36 hours. Her hands shook as she reviewed the damage reports, the PR crisis assessments, the Gupiao projections that looked like a vertical cliff dive. Vaught's stock had dropped 19% in the hours since footage of Homelander bleeding went viral. Bleeding, their golden god, their untouchable symbol of American supremacy, beaten like a common thug in the middle of Times Square. Options, she said to the crisis team assembled in the conference room. 14 executives, 5 PR specialists, 3 lawyers. All of them looked like they'd rather be literally anywhere else. Somebody give me options that don't involve ritual suicide. We could claim deepfake, offered a junior PR associate. There are 17,000 unique camera angles, Ashley snapped. From phones, security systems, news drones, satellites. We'd need to fake every single one, and people would still have the originals. Blame it on a new soup? Unregistered threat? And admit we don't know who's in our own city? That there are soups powerful enough to hurt Homelander that we don't control? Ashley's laugh was slightly unhinged. Great plan. Let's tank the stock another 20%. The door opened. Every head turned. Homelander walked in, and the room went silent with a terror that was purely instinctual. He wore a fresh suit. The old one had been too blood-stained to salvage. His face was healed, perfect again, not a mark to show what had happened. But his eyes carried something new, something dangerous. Ashley, he said, voice flat and cold, clear the room. Sir, we're in the middle of... Clear the room. They fled, executives and lawyers scrambling over each other like rats, abandoning a sinking ship. In 15 seconds, only Ashley remained, standing alone with America's most dangerous psychopath. Homelander moved to the window, staring out at the city that had watched him bleed. I want the 7 activated, full deployment. I want military liaison. I want satellite tracking. I want every resource Vought has dedicated to finding that thing and bringing it to me. Homelander, the board is already questioning the resource allocation for... He was across the room in a heartbeat, hand wrapped around her throat, lifting her off the ground. Not enough to kill, just enough to make the point. Do you think I give a fuck about the board right now, Ashley? His smile was pure psychosis. Do you think I care about stock prices or PR strategies or quarterly earnings? That thing made me bleed in front of the world, in front of everyone who's supposed to worship me, fear me, love me. His grip tightened. So you're going to do exactly what I say, or I'm going to find out if your head can actually pop like a grape. Understand? Ashley nodded as much as she could with a hand around her windpipe. He dropped her. She collapsed, gasping. Get the 7 to the tower, now. 10 minutes later, the remaining members of the 7 assembled in the briefing room. A-Train, vibrating slightly with nervous energy. The Deep, still desperately trying to be relevant. Black Noir, silent as always, but his body language suggested he understood the threat level. Starlight, Annie, stood apart from the others, arms crossed, jaw tight. Homelander entered like a storm front, cape billowing with unnecessary drama. All right, team, he said, voice dripping with false cheer. We have a situation. A hostile alien entity has invaded our city, assaulted Vought property, and attempted to undermine everything we stand for. This is exactly why the 7 exists. To protect America from threats too dangerous for normal heroes. His eyes swept across them. So we're going to find this thing, and we're going to kill it, together. as a team. Homelander, Annie said carefully, that thing walked through your heat vision like it was nothing. What makes you think? What makes me think what, Starlight? He rounded on her, sudden and vicious. That I can handle one alien freak? That I'm strong enough? Capable enough? He stepped closer. You saw a fight, one fight, where I was surprised, unprepared. But now I know what I'm dealing with. Now I'm ready. A train spoke up, trying to sound confident and failing. Look, man, I'm fast, but I can't exactly speed punch something that tough. What's the actual plan here? The plan, Homelander said, is simple. We find it, we surround it, and we hit it with everything we have until it stops moving. Coordinated assault, overwhelming force. His smile was terrible. It might be tough, but it's not invincible. Everything bleeds, everything breaks. We just have to hit it hard enough. Black Noir remained silent, but he shifted his weight slightly, a tell that suggested disagreement. Homelander noticed. You have something to say, Noir? Black Noir shook his head. Good, because we're doing this today, right now. Intel says the thing is in Brooklyn, abandoned industrial area, and he's not alone. The boys are with him. That got everyone's attention. Butcher? Annie asked. Why would Butcher team up with something like that? Because Butcher's a terrorist who'd burn down the world if it meant hurting us, Homelander said. Which makes this even better. We take down the alien and the boys in one operation. 2 problems, 1 solution. He clapped his hands together. Everybody gear up. We leave in 5 minutes. As the team dispersed, Ashley pulled Homelander aside, voice low and urgent. Sir, the CIA is requesting we stand down. They want to handle this diplomatically. First contact protocols, international incident concerns. Fuck the CIA. Fuck protocols. That thing humiliated me, Ashley. It made me look weak. And if people think I'm weak, they stop being afraid. And if they stop being afraid, he leaned in close. Then, what's the point of any of this? He walked away, leaving Ashley to face the reality that Homelander wasn't interested in winning anymore. He was interested in punishment, revenge, making an example so brutal that the world would forget he'd ever bled. In Brooklyn, Lobo sat on the roof of the safe house, scanner in hand, tracking the multiple heat signatures approaching from the north. He counted them. 5 distinct soups, moving fast, trying for a tactical approach. Yeah, Boy Scouts bringing friends, he called down to Butcher, who climbed up through the roof access. How many? 5. Probably that whole fraggin' team of his. Lobo grinned, cracking his knuckles. You know what? I was gonna go easy on him. Professional courtesy, since they ain't my actual target. But if they want to come at me as a group. He stood, massive frame silhouetted against the afternoon sky. Then I guess I get to teach them all a lesson. Lobo, Butcher said carefully. We need Starlight alive. She's not like the others. She's actually trying to do good. Everybody's got a sob story, Tiny. Don't mean shit when they're throwing punches. I'm serious. You kill her. The deal's off. Lobo looked at Butcher with something approaching respect. You got some big brass ones, making demands when you're about to watch the 7 get dismantled. All right, Blondie lives. Anyone else? The bastard in the cape? Feel free. Now you're talking my language. In the distance, 5 figures appeared against the skyline, flying in formation. Homelander in the lead, cape streaming behind him, flanked by his team. They looked like heroes, like salvation descending from above. They had no idea what was waiting for them. Lobo pulled out his favorite weapon, a massive alien shotgun that hummed with antimatter energy. All right, you cape-wearing fraggers, let's dance. The 7 descended like avenging angels. They were about to learn the difference between real power and a corporate science project. The deep hit the ground first, literally. Lobo's opening shot caught him mid-descent, the antimatter blast sending him cartwheeling through the air like a rag doll before he crashed through a warehouse wall 3 blocks away. The sound of his impact echoed across Brooklyn like a thunderclap. "One down!" Lobo roared, already loading another charge. "Who's next?" A-Train blurred into motion, using his superhuman speed to circle the building at velocities that broke the sound barrier. He was a red and silver streak, trying to find an opening, looking for a vulnerable angle. Lobo didn't even turn around. He just tossed a small sphere over his shoulder. The gravity mine activated, creating a localized field that multiplied gravitational force by a factor of 50. A-Train ran straight into it at Mach 2. His legs buckled under suddenly impossible weight. Bones shattered. He face-planted into asphalt hard enough to plow a trench, screaming. "Two down!" Lobo laughed, spinning to face Homelander and the remaining members. "This is your rescue squad. I fought tougher parasites." Homelander's eyes blazed red. Heat vision lanced out, full power, sustained, joined by Starlight's energy blasts from the left flank. Twin beams of destruction that could melt tank armor converged on Lobo's position. The main man crossed his arms and took it. Steam rose from his body. His skin blackened and cracked. And then, through the smoke and fire, he walked forward. "You're gonna have to do better than that, Boy Scout." Black Noir moved like a shadow coming in from Lobo's blind spot with vibration-enhanced combat knives aimed at vulnerable joints, throat, kidneys, spine. Textbook assassination technique. Noir was the only one on the team with actual military training, actual kill experience. It didn't matter. Lobo spun with impossible speed for his size, catching Noir's wrist mid-strike. "Nice try, quiet guy." He headbutted Noir hard enough to crack the mask, then threw him into Homelander with enough force to send both of them tumbling through a condemned apartment building. Inside the safe house, the boys watched through reinforced windows, weapons ready, but useless. "Jesus Christ," Huey whispered. "He's not even trying. He's toying with them." MM tracked the fight through his scope, tactical mind cataloging every move. Homelander's coordination is shit. They're not fighting as a team. They're just attacking individually. No strategy, no backup plans. "That's because they've never needed one," Butcher said, lighting a cigarette with steady hands despite the violence outside. "They've always been the biggest bastards in the room. Now they're facing someone who actually knows how to fight." Frenchie was recording everything, muttering analysis. "The alien's regeneration factor is extraordinary. Full cellular restoration in seconds. And his combat efficiency. He's neutralizing threats in order of danger level. Deep first because he was isolated. A-Train because his speed made him unpredictable. Now he's controlling space, forcing them into disadvantageous positions." Kimiko signed. "He's a professional. They're children with weapons." Outside, Starlight tried a different approach. She wasn't stupid. She could see the power differential. Instead of attacking, she landed 20 yards away, hands up in a non-threatening gesture. "Wait! Wait!" Her voice cut through the chaos. "We don't have to do this. If you're just here for a bounty, we can help. We can negotiate." Lobo paused, standing over A-Train's broken body. "Negotiate? Kid, I appreciate the effort, but your team leader there..." He pointed at Homelander, who was pulling himself from rubble with Black Noir. "He don't want negotiation. He wants blood. Specifically mine. Which ain't gonna happen, but I respect the ambition." "Homelander doesn't speak for all of us," Annie insisted. "I know about the boys. I know about Compound V. I know Vought is corrupt. If you're hunting something in that tower, maybe we can..." "Starlight!" Homelander's voice cracked like a whip. He rose into the air, face twisted with rage that had nothing to do with heroism and everything to do with wounded pride. "Stand down. That's an order. I'm trying to save lives. You're making us look weak." Lobo watched this exchange with genuine amusement. "Ah, trouble in paradise? Here's a tip, Blondie. Your boss there's a fraggin' psychopath. You might want to rethink your career choices." He turned to Homelander, grin widening. "And you? You're boring me. Either come at me with something that'll actually hurt, or piss off so I can get back to work." Something snapped in Homelander's eyes. That final thread of control, of pretense, of trying to maintain the hero image. It shattered like glass. "You want something that hurts?" His voice dropped to a whisper that was somehow more terrifying than shouting. "Fine." He blurred forward with every ounce of speed he possessed, grabbing Lobo around the waist and driving upward. They shot into the sky like a rocket, accelerating past the sound barrier, climbing toward the stratosphere. Buildings blurred beneath them. The air grew thin. "Gonna drop you from orbit!" Homelander screamed over the wind. "See how tough you are when you hit the ground at terminal velocity!" Lobo, being choked at 30,000 feet with oxygen scarce and temperature plummeting, just laughed. "Kid, I've survived atmospheric re-entry on 12 different planets. This is Tuesday for me." He brought his elbow down on Homelander's spine. Once, twice, 3 times. Each impact was like a meteor strike. Homelander's grip loosened. They began to fall, but Lobo wasn't done. He grabbed Homelander's cape and swung him like a hammer, spinning in midair, building momentum. Then he let go, sending Homelander rocketing toward the ground while Lobo used his own momentum to orient himself for landing. Homelander hit first, cratering a city block. Lobo landed on top of him 10 seconds later, boots first, driving the super deeper into the concrete. "Lesson's over, Boy Scout," Lobo said, standing over Homelander's prone form. Blood leaked from the Golden God's mouth, his nose, his ears. He was broken, conscious, but broken. "You're tough for a test tube, baby. I'll give you that. But you're also stupid, and that's gonna get you killed one day." He looked up at Starlight, who had landed nearby, staring in horror at her defeated leader. "Listen up, Glowy. I ain't here for you, and I ain't here for your corporate masters. I'm here for a fugitive, and when I get him, I'm gone. But if your boss there," he nudged Homelander with his boot, "keeps getting in my way, next time I ain't gonna be gentle. You feel me?" Annie nodded slowly, unable to form words. "Good. Now get your teammates to a hospital, especially Speedy over there. Think I broke both his legs." Inside the safe house, Butcher watched Lobo walk away from the Seven's devastation with the casual confidence of someone who'd barely broken a sweat. He said quietly, "get me everything we have on Vought's executive structure. If there's a shapeshifter in that building, we're gonna find the bastard." "And then what?" asked. "Then we let Lobo do what he does best." Butcher smiled grimly. "While Homelander's too broken to stop us." Across the crater, Homelander lay staring at the sky, listening to sirens approach, tasting blood and defeat. He'd been beaten, twice, in front of witnesses. This wasn't over, not even close. But for the first time in his life, John, not Homelander, but John, felt something cold and terrible. Doubt. The media storm was a Category 5 hurricane of hot takes, conspiracy theories, and market panic. Every news station on the planet ran the footage on loop. Homelander broken and bleeding, the Seven scattered like children, and an unknown entity walking away without a scratch. "Who is Lobo?" trended worldwide. Stock markets hemorrhaged, religious groups proclaimed end times, and in the corridors of power, real power, not corporate facades, people started making phone calls. Grace Mallory sat in a CIA safe house in Georgetown, watching the feeds with the expression of someone who'd seen too much and knew more was coming. Her phone rang. She didn't recognize the number, but she recognized the encryption signature. "Deputy Director Mallory," said a voice that carried military authority and barely suppressed panic. "This is General Haraway, Northcom. We need to talk about your alien problem." "It's not my problem, General. It's everyone's problem." The president wants a military solution. Airstrikes, orbital kinetics, whatever it takes to neutralize the threat before it decides to expand operations. Grace lit a cigarette, something she hadn't done in 5 years. General, did you watch the footage? That thing took sustained heat vision from Homelander, heat that melts steel and regenerated in seconds. You want to explain to me how conventional munitions are going to work better? Silence on the line. Then, what do you suggest? I suggest we let it finish its business and leave. According to my sources, it's hunting something specific, a fugitive. Once it's done, it'll go. And if it doesn't? Grace exhaled smoke. Then we pray someone invents better weapons real fast. She hung up and dialed another number. This one, Butcher answered on the first ring. Grace, tell me you got good news. Define good. The military wants to drone strike your new friend. The CIA wants to capture him for study. Vought wants him dead or disappeared. You're running out of time, Billy. We're working on it. Lobo's scanner picked up traces in Vought Tower, someone high up in corporate. We just need access, which you're not going to get with the 7 watching every entrance. Homelander's already back on his feet, accelerated healing from the V. He's angrier, more unstable, and he's putting together a second assault team. Butcher swore creatively. Who's he recruiting? Soldier Boy. The line went quiet. Fuck me, Butcher finally said. He's that desperate. They pulled him out of cryo 2 hours ago. Homelander's selling it as a team-up. America's 2 strongest supes united against an alien threat. Reality is, he needs someone who can actually hurt that thing. And Soldier Boy's ego's big enough he'll go for it. Exactly. They're mobilizing for tonight. You've got maybe 6 hours before this turns into World War III in downtown Manhattan. Butcher looked across the safe house at Lobo, who was disassembling his weapons for maintenance with the casual efficiency of a professional killer. Yeah, we'll handle it. Billy, I said we'll handle it, Grace. Trust me. He hung up before she could argue. was already pulling up files on Soldier Boy, the original supe, the legend, the one they'd spent years tracking before Butcher made his deal with the Russians. Homelander's genetic father, though neither would ever admit what that meant. This is bad, said, scrolling through classified documents. Soldier Boy's power set is specifically designed to neutralize Supies, that radiation blast of his. It strips Compound V right out of the system. If he hits Lobo with that... It won't work, Lobo interrupted, not looking up from cleaning a gun that fired ammunition made from collapsed star matter. V is artificial enhancement. My powers are biological, Zarnian genetics, been this way since birth. Your radiation boy can blast me all he wants, ain't gonna change chromosomes. You sure about that? Huey asked nervously. Kid, I've been hit with cosmic rays, gamma bursts, antimatter detonations, and one time a weapon that literally unmade molecules. Still here, still pretty, still the main man. He slammed a power cell into the weapon. But here's the thing. If your tinfoil soldier can hurt supes, that might actually be useful. Butcher leaned forward. How you figure? My target's a shapeshifter. Means it's adapted to this universe's biology. Probably used Compound V to blend in, enhance itself. If your Soldier Boy can strip V powers... Lobo's grin was nasty. Then he can force my target to show its real form, make it vulnerable. Frenchie's eyes lit up. Mon Dieu, you want to use Soldier Boy as a detector. His radiation would affect anyone with V in their system, but a shapeshifter trying to mimic Supi powers would react differently. Exactly. Different cellular structure, different energy signature. Blast a room full of V-enhanced humans, and the one that don't react right, that's my bastage. Lobo stood, massive frame filling the room. So here's the new plan. We let your boy Scout bring his daddy to the party. We use the old man to find my target. Then everyone tries to kill everyone. and we're caught in the middle, finished. Great plan. You got a better one, you fragging accountant? Actually, Butcher said slowly, dangerous smile spreading, I might. Lobo, how attached are you to subtlety? Never met her. Good. 'Cause we're gonna walk right through the front door of Vought Tower, in broad daylight, with cameras rolling, and we're gonna dare Homelander and Soldier Boy to stop us. The room stared at him. That's insane, Huey said. That's suicide, added. That's perfect, Lobo laughed, slapping his knee hard enough to crack the chair. I fraggin' love it. Walk right in, let 'em bring the fight to us. Use the chaos to flush out the target. He pointed at Butcher. You're all right, Tiny. For a human. Kimiko signed rapidly. Frenchie translated. She says, this will cause massive civilian casualties. The tower is full of workers, innocent people. Which is why, Butcher said, pulling out his phone. We're gonna make sure they evacuate first. Anonymous bomb threat. Get everyone out. Then it's just us, the 7, Soldier Boy, Vought Security, and whatever fraggin' shapeshifter's been pulling strings. Clean slate. Nothing about this is clean, muttered, but he was already pulling up building schematics. Annie's phone buzzed. She looked at the message from an unknown number. Tower evac, 6 p.m. Stay away or get caught in crossfire. B. She stared at it, then looked across the medical bay at Homelander, who was having his ribs examined by terrified doctors while ranting about revenge, about showing the world his true power, about making examples. And next to him, sitting up on a gurney like he owned the place, was Soldier Boy, beard graying but eyes still sharp, smiling like he'd been waiting decades for permission to be himself again. So, the alien thinks he's tough? Soldier Boy said, voice carrying that old-school American swagger. Well, I've been killing things since before he was born. Time to show this new generation how we used to handle business. Homelander's smile was fractured glass. I want him conscious. I want him aware. I want him to know who beat him before he dies. Sure, kid. Whatever you say. But Soldier Boy's eyes said different. They said, I'm going to enjoy this. All of it. 6 hours until sunset. 6 hours until Vought Tower became a war zone. And somewhere in the executive floors, wearing a face no one would suspect, the shapeshifter felt the first stirrings of panic and started planning an escape route. The net was closing. The evacuation alarm started at 5:47 p.m., 13 minutes early, triggered by an anonymous tip about a credible bomb threat. Vaught's security protocols, designed after 9/11 and updated following multiple super-related incidents, activated automatically. Klaxons wailed through 90 floors of corporate infrastructure. Emergency lights strobed. Pre-recorded voices instructed employees to proceed to designated exits in an orderly fashion. There was nothing orderly about the stampede. 3,000 employees flooded the stairwells, pushing, shoving, some crying, others checking phones for news updates. Middle management abandoned assistance. Executives shouldered past interns. In the basement parking garage, black SUVs peeled out with Vaught's upper echelon already halfway to their Hamptons estates. By 6:04 p.m., Vought Tower stood nearly empty. By 6:07 p.m., Lobo walked through the front entrance like he owned the place. The lobby's marble floors reflected his hulking frame as he strode toward the executive elevators, boots echoing in the abandoned space. Butcher walked beside him, shotgun loaded with V-neutralizing rounds he'd been saving for a special occasion. Flanked the other side, tactical vest loaded with enough firepower to start a small war. Frenchie and Kimiko brought up the rear, the former carrying scanning equipment, the latter simply carrying death in her eyes. Huey had stayed behind. Someone with a conscience needed to monitor emergency frequencies, make sure no civilians got caught in the blast radius. Feels wrong, muttered, checking corners with military precision. Too easy. They had to know we'd come. Course they know, Butcher said. That's the fragging point. We're the bait, mate. We draw him out. Lobo finds his target in the chaos. Everyone gets what they want. Except the part where we probably die. Details. The elevator dinged pleasantly. The doors opened to reveal a car covered in mirrored panels, designed so Soups could admire themselves on the ride up. Lobo looked at his reflection and grinned. Ain't I pretty? They rode in silence to the 72nd floor, executive level, where corner offices looked out over Manhattan and decisions were made that affected millions of lives. The elevator slowed, stopped. Doors opened. Homelander stood in the corridor, arms crossed, cape draped perfectly despite the violence he was planning. Behind him, the Seven's remaining functional members. Starlight, looking conflicted. Black Noir, already in combat stance. And 24 Vought security contractors in tactical gear, armed with experimental weapons designed to hurt Soups. And next to Homelander, leaning against the wall with the casual confidence of someone who'd survived 8 decades of killing, was Soldier Boy. He wore his old suit, stars and stripes, vintage brutality, the original American weapon. His shield rested against his shoulder. "You've got balls, Butcher," Homelander said, voice carrying that sing-song quality that meant someone was about to die screaming. "Walking into my building, with that thing, after everything." "Your building?" Lobo laughed, stepping out of the elevator first. "Kid, I've taken shits in bathrooms more impressive than this corporate wankfest. Now step aside. I got a bounty to collect, and you're in my way." Soldier Boy pushed off the wall, studying Lobo with professional interest. "So you're the alien. Gotta say, expected someone more impressive. You look like a biker who lost a fight with a paint store. And you look like Uncle Sam hate-fucked a propaganda poster," Lobo shot back. "But I respect the vintage look. Very retro. Very, I murdered civilians in Nicaragua and called it patriotism." Soldier Boy's smile didn't reach his eyes. "I like him. Shame I have to kill him." "Everyone's gotta go sometime, old man. Won't be today, but I appreciate the enthusiasm." Homelander's jaw tightened. "Enough. This ends now. All of you, light them up." The Vought contractors opened fire first. Experimental rounds designed by Vought's weapons division. Armor-piercing, explosive-tipped, loaded with a cocktail of chemicals meant to disrupt Soup regeneration. They hit Lobo like a swarm, tearing through his vest, shredding flesh. Lobo tanked it for 3 full seconds, just to make a point. Then he moved. His speed defied his size. One moment he was standing in the elevator. The next, he was among the contractors, and bodies were flying. A punch sent one man through a wall. A backhand broke another's neck. He grabbed a third by the tactical vest and threw him at Homelander hard enough that the impact created a shockwave. Butcher and opened fire on Black Noir, rounds sparking off the Soup's armor. Noir moved like liquid shadow, closing the distance, knives out. Caught a slash across his vest. Kevlar saved his life. Butcher dodged another, firing point blank. But Noir was already gone, circling for another attack. Kimiko hit him from the side like a freight train. They went through a conference room window together, disappearing into the office space beyond. The sounds of their fight, brutal, silent, vicious, echoed through the floor. Frenchie worked frantically with his scanning equipment, trying to get readings through the chaos. "I need everyone to hold still for 3 seconds. Impossible, I know, but..." Soldier Boy's fist caught him in the chest, sending him tumbling. The old Super moved with practiced efficiency, not flashy like Homelander, but effective. Decades of killing refined into simple, brutal technique. "Nothing personal, French," Soldier Boy said, advancing. "Just business." Lobo intercepted him, catching the punch meant for Frenchie's skull. "Business. Now you're speaking my language, old-timer." They grappled, strength against strength. Soldier Boy was powerful, legitimately powerful, not just V-enhanced. Original formula, before they diluted it for mass production. He pushed back against Lobo with enough force to crack concrete beneath their feet. "You're strong," Soldier Boy grunted. "Stronger than Homelander. But strength ain't everything." His chest began to glow. Nuclear energy building. The radiation that could strip V from a soup system. The weapon that made him Vaught's first true success. Heat built in the corridor. Windows cracked. The air itself began to ionize. Lobo saw it coming and grinned. "Do it! Give me your best shot!" "Wait!" Frenchie screamed, reading spiking on his equipment. "The radiation, it's going to affect everyone with V in their system. If there's a shapeshifter hiding..." Too late. Soldier Boy released the blast. Golden red energy exploded outward, a wave of power that washed through the entire floor. Homelander staggered, feeling his powers flicker. Annie dropped to one knee, her light dying. Black Noir froze mid-strike against Kimiko, suddenly vulnerable. Every Vought contractor with V enhancement in their bloodstream collapsed, screaming, and in a corner office 40 feet away, something screamed differently. The sound was wrong, not human, not even close. It was the sound of biology breaking down, of a disguise failing, of cellular structure forced back to its original form. Everyone stopped fighting. Every head turned. Through the smoke and chaos, a figure stumbled out of an executive office. It wore the face of Stan Edgar, Vaught's former CEO, the man who'd supposedly retired months ago. But the face was melting, skin rippling like liquid, features distorting. The shapeshifter's true form emerged. Gray-green flesh, too many joints, eyes that reflected light like an insect's. It was vaguely humanoid, but fundamentally wrong, like someone had described a person to an alien who'd never seen one. "There you are," Lobo said softly, pulling out his scanner. The device screamed confirmation. "Been wearing Edgar's face this whole time. Smart, real smart. No wonder you stayed hidden so long." The shapeshifter looked at Lobo with alien intelligence and spoke in a voice that harmonized with itself. "The bounty. You followed me across 3 universes. Why? What is one life to a hunter of your reputation? 'Cause your fraggin' killed the Archduke of Slazia's daughter, and Daddy's paying 50 million credits for your head, dead or alive." Lobo's smile was pure predator. "And I always collect." The shapeshifter bolted, moving with inhuman speed toward the emergency stairs. Lobo didn't run. He just pulled out the alien shotgun. "Nah," he said, and fired. The antimatter round caught the shapeshifter mid-stride, punching through its torso and detonating against the far wall. The creature screamed, collapsing, regeneration trying to kick in but failing against matter-destroying weaponry. Lobo walked over, casual, and looked down at his dying target. "Bounty says dead or alive. Your choice, Bastich. Come quiet, or I end it here." The shapeshifter looked up at him with fading eyes. "You have no idea what I learned here, what secrets I gathered, what I could tell you about this world's..." Lobo pulled the trigger again. "Don't care." The shapeshifter stopped moving. "Bounty claimed," Lobo announced to the silent floor. "Now, anyone else want to try something? Or can I get back to my fraggin' bike?" Homelander, powers still flickering from Soldier Boy's blast, stared at the alien corpse with something approaching horror. That had been Stan Edgar, or wearing his face, for months, maybe longer. How much of Vaught's decisions had been the shapeshifter? How much had been manipulation? "You," he said to Lobo, voice shaking with barely contained fury. "You can't just..." "I just did," Lobo interrupted. "Now we gonna finish our dance, or you gonna be smart for once in your test tube life?" Homelander's eyes blazed crimson, heat building behind them like the core of a dying star. His entire body vibrated with rage, not the performative anger he used for cameras, but genuine, primal fury. The kind that came from realizing he'd been manipulated, used, made a fool of. Smart? His voice cracked, oscillating between the folksy hero persona and something raw and broken underneath. You come to my world, destroy my team, murder someone in my building, and you tell me to be smart? Lobo pulled a cigar from his vest, lit it with his finger, and blew smoke in Homelander's direction. Yeah, 'cause right now, your powers are still flickering from Grandpa's radiation blast, your team's scattered, half your security's unconscious, and I'm standing here with a gun that just vaporized an interdimensional fugitive. He took another drag. So the smart play, you let me walk. We both live. You get to keep pretending you're a god, and I get off this backwater planet. Homelander! Starlight called from where she knelt, still recovering. He's right. We can't. Shut up, Annie. Homelander rounded on her, face twisted. You don't get to tell me what I can or can't do. None of you do. I am the strongest. You ain't even the strongest in this hallway, Lobo interrupted. And we both know it. Something snapped. The last thread of self-control, of pretense, of the carefully maintained delusion that Homelander was anything but a broken child in a god's body. He screamed, wordless, primal, and launched himself at Lobo with every ounce of speed and strength he possessed. Soldier Boy moved to intercept. Kid, wait. Too late. Homelander hit Lobo like a missile and they crashed through the exterior wall of Vought Tower. Glass exploded outward. Steel shrieked. They tumbled through open air 72 stories above Manhattan, locked together, falling. Lobo laughed the whole way down. They hit a construction site, cratering the foundation of a half-built skyscraper. I-beams bent, concrete pulverized. Workers who'd ignored the evacuation warnings scattered, screaming. Homelander came up swinging, heat vision at full power, hands glowing red-hot as he tried to literally melt through Lobo's skull. The main man caught his wrists, holding the heat vision away like a parent dealing with a tantruming child. You just don't fraggin' learn, do ya? He twisted, using Homelander's own momentum against him, and pile drove the super into a cement mixer hard enough to split it open. Wet concrete poured over Homelander, coating him, and for 3 beautiful seconds, he was trapped. Lobo didn't waste the opportunity. He grabbed a steel girder, 3 tons of construction material, and swung it like a baseball bat. The impact sent Homelander flying through the construction site, through a parked crane, finally slamming into the building's temporary elevator shaft. Back in Vought Tower, Butcher watched through the blown-out wall. We need to move, now. What about them? Gestured to Soldier Boy, who was helping Starlight to her feet, and Black Noir, who'd extracted himself from the office space looking worse for wear. Let 'em sort themselves out. We got what we came for. Butcher looked at Frenchie, who was already securing samples from the shapeshifter's corpse. That thing was manipulating Vought for months, maybe years. Everything we've been fighting against, some of it might have been alien interference. Which means we have proof, Frenchie said, carefully storing tissue samples in cryo containers. Proof that Vought was compromised at the highest level. This could change everything, finished. Or could get buried like everything else. Grace needs to see this. CIA, NSA, someone above Vought's pay grade. Kimiko signed rapidly. Frenchie translated, she says Homelander won't stop. Even if he can't win, his pride won't allow retreat. Then he dies, Butcher said simply and honestly. After everything that bastard's done, I won't lose sleep. Soldier Boy stepped forward, shield in hand, looking more interested than concerned. You boys stealing intel? We're documenting a crime scene, Butcher countered. Unless you want to explain to Homeland Security why an alien was wearing Stan Edgar's face for 6 months. Touché. Soldier Boy glanced at the shapeshifter's corpse, then at the sounds of destruction from below. That thing down there, Homelander, he's going to get himself killed. You know that, right? And that bothers you? Fuck no. Kid's a psychopath. Always has been. Soldier Boy's expression was hard to read. But he's my psychopath, my genetics, my legacy, and I'll be damned if some alien bounty hunter gets to end him before I do. He moved toward the blown-out wall. Wait! Annie grabbed his arm. You're going to help him? After everything? After he's proven he's crazy, dangerous, a threat to everyone around him? Soldier Boy shrugged her off. Yeah, all of that, but he's American crazy. Our problem, not some alien's entertainment. He looked at her with something that might have been pity. You really thought you could fix him, didn't you? Thought if you just stayed close enough, believed hard enough, he'd become the hero everyone pretends he is. Annie's silence was answer enough. He was broken before you met him, kid. Before I met him. Hell, before Vogelbaum pulled him out of whatever tube they grew him in. Soldier Boy stepped to the edge. Some things can't be fixed, but they're still ours to deal with. He jumped, dropping 72 stories to join the fight below. Butcher watched him go, then turned to his team. Right, we're leaving. Before this whole area becomes a nuclear crater. They moved fast. Frenchie carrying samples, covering their exit, Kimiko on point, Butcher bringing up the rear. The emergency stairs were empty, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Around them, Vought Tower stood like a monument to corruption, now violated, compromised, exposed. Outside, the sounds of battle intensified. Lobo's laughter, Homelander's screams, Soldier Boy's tactical cursing, metal shrieking, concrete shattering. The construction site was becoming a tomb. They emerged onto the street 4 blocks away, joining clusters of evacuated employees watching the fight from a distance. Phone cameras were everywhere, streaming live to millions. The narrative was already forming, spinning, fracturing into 1,000 competing theories. Grace Mallory's car pulled up, black sedan with government plates. She stepped out, took one look at Frenchie's sample case, and nodded. Tell me it was worth it. Shapeshifter, Butcher said. Been wearing Stan Edgar's face, manipulating Vought from inside. French got tissue samples, DNA, the works. More than enough to prove external influence on corporate decisions. Which means plausible deniability for Vaught's board, Grace said. They'll claim they were victims, compromised, that any illegal activity was the aliens' doing, not theirs. Bastards always find a way, Butcher agreed. But it's still leverage, still proof that their security is shit, still evidence that everything they've built is fragile. A building collapsed in the distance, not Vought Tower, but the construction site where Homelander and Lobo were still fighting. Dust clouds rose like funeral shrouds. How long can he last? asked, meaning Homelander. Against Lobo, in a straight fight. Butcher pulled out his flask, took a drink, passed it to Not much longer. Grace's phone buzzed. She read the message, expression darkening. Military's getting involved. They're scrambling F-35s, preparing for tactical strikes if the situation escalates further. They're gonna bomb Manhattan? Huey's voice crackled over the comms, listening from the safe house. They're going to try, Grace said. Whether it works is another question entirely. In the ruins of the construction site, Homelander pulled himself from rubble, both arms broken, ribs cracked, one eye swollen shut. But he was still moving, still fighting, because stopping meant admitting defeat, and defeat meant facing the emptiness inside where his identity used to be. Soldier Boy landed nearby, shield raised. Kid, it's over. We retreat, regroup, come back with actual strategy. No. Homelander's voice was hoarse. No retreating, no regrouping. I end this here. I end him here. Lobo emerged from the dust, grinning through blood and concrete dust. He'd lost his vest somewhere in the fighting. His skin was scorched, torn, regenerating in real time. He looked like death incarnate, and he'd never been happier. Ready for round 3, Boy Scout, or you're finally gonna accept you're outclassed. Homelander's chest began to glow. Not heat vision, but something deeper, something desperate. He was pulling power from reserves that shouldn't exist, burning through whatever made him Homelander, converting his very existence into one final attack. "Oh shit," Soldier Boy muttered, backing away. "He's going to—" Homelander exploded forward, moving faster than he'd ever moved before. Heat vision and physical force and pure psychotic will blended into a single devastating assault. Lobo met him head-on. The collision registered on seismographs across the eastern seaboard. Homelander poured everything into the attack. Every ounce of compound Vi in his system, every shred of strength, every desperate need to prove he was still the apex predator. His heat vision burned at temperatures that turned sand to glass. His fists moved faster than human eyes could track. He fought like a cornered animal because that's exactly what he was, trapped by his own mythology with nowhere left to run. Lobo absorbed it all. Each punch Homelander threw, Lobo countered. Each blast of heat vision, Lobo walked through. The main man had fought Kryptonian gods, thrown down with Green Lanterns, survived encounters with beings that existed outside normal space-time. Homelander, for all his power, all his rage, was just another pretender learning the hard truth. There were levels to this game, and he'd never even made it past the first floor. "Is that all you got?" Lobo roared, catching Homelander's fist mid-swing. "Is this what passes for power on this backwater rock?" He twisted Homelander's arm, hyperextending the elbow. Bone cracked. Homelander screamed, and for the first time in his adult life, the sound was pure pain without rage to mask it. Soldier Boy circled the perimeter, shield ready, looking for an opening. He'd survived wars, killed hundreds, toppled governments, but even he recognized when something was beyond his pay grade. Still, he was stubborn, American, and too goddamn proud to just walk away. He charged in, shield first, aiming for Lobo's knee. Structural weak point, basic combat doctrine. Lobo kicked him without looking. The impact sent Soldier Boy tumbling through rubble, shield clattering away. "Stay down, old-timer," Lobo called. "This ain't your fight no more." But it was. Because Homelander was the only thing Soldier Boy had created that mattered, even if that creation was a monster. Even if letting him die was the smart play, the moral play, maybe even the necessary play. Soldier Boy pulled himself up, chest glowing again with nuclear buildup. "Hey, alien!" Lobo turned, genuinely curious. Soldier Boy released another radiation blast. Closer this time, more focused, aimed not at Lobo, but at the ground beneath his feet. The concrete vaporized, support structures weakened. The entire construction site began to collapse inward, a controlled demolition that swallowed everything. Lobo, Homelander, Soldier Boy, all of them dropped into the collapsing infrastructure, falling into the foundation pit with tons of debris following. Dust rose like a mushroom cloud. For 10 seconds, there was silence. Then the rubble exploded outward. Lobo emerged first, shaking off concrete chunks like water. "Now that was clever, old man. Still ain't gonna work, but I respect the effort." Homelander came next, dragging himself out with his one functional arm. His costume was shredded. His face was a mask of blood and dirt. His left leg bent at an angle that meant shattered femur. But his eyes still burned with that manic need to win, to dominate, to prove something that could never be proven. "I can't," he gasped, crawling forward. "I can't lose. Not like this. Not to you." Lobo stopped, looking down at the broken soup with something approaching pity. "Kid, you're already lost. The minute you let your pride do your thinking, you're lost. The minute you thought power was the same as strength, you're lost. Hell, the minute they pulled you out of that fraggin' lab and told you you were special, you're lost." He crouched down, meeting Homelander's eyes level. "You want to know the real difference between us? It ain't power. It ain't regeneration. It's that I know what I am. I'm a bastich, a killer, a bounty hunter who'd sell his own mother for the right price, except I already killed her, so that ship sailed. His grin faded. But you're a weapon pretending to be a god, pretending to be a hero, pretending to be human, and you can't even figure out which lie to commit to. Homelander's hand shot up, grabbing Lobo's throat in one last, desperate attempt. Heat vision flickered in his eyes, weak now, fading, but still there. Lobo didn't fight back. He just let Homelander squeeze, let the heat vision wash over him, let the so-called god exhaust the last of his strength. Finally, Homelander's hand dropped. The heat vision died. He collapsed onto his back, staring up at the New York sky, chest heaving. "Just kill me," he whispered. "End it." "Nah," Lobo said, standing up. "You're not my bounty. You're not my problem. You're just sad." He looked at Soldier Boy, who'd managed to pull himself to the edge of the crater. "He's your mess. You deal with him." In the distance, the sounds of approaching military aircraft grew louder. F-35s, probably, maybe worse. The government was done waiting. Lobo pulled out a small device, his dimensional anchor, the one that would call his ride. He activated it, and a portal began to form in the air above, purple fire and cosmic radiation tearing through reality once again. The Spaz-Frag 666 roared through, automated navigation bringing it to its master. The bike descended, chrome gleaming, ready to leave this world behind. Lobo mounted up, revving the engine. He looked back one last time at the destruction he'd caused, the collapsed buildings, the crater, the broken soups, the city in chaos. "Attention, fraggers of Earth," he shouted, his voice somehow carrying across the entire area. Every phone camera, every news feed, every broadcast picked it up. "You got a message to spread, your so-called soups." He laughed. "They ain't shit. They're lab experiments with delusions of grandeur. Out in the real universe, they wouldn't last a fraggin' day." He pointed at Homelander, still lying in the rubble. "That's your strongest? That's your god? I've met cosmic entities that'd use him as a toothpick. I've fought wars on planets where the civilians are tougher. You want to know what real power looks like? Go to space. Leave your little bubble. See how far your compound fee gets you when you meet something that evolved to survive supernovas." He revved the engine again. "And one more thing. That shapeshifter I killed. It was just one fugitive. You think you're the only planet in the multiverse worth hiding on? Nah. You're just easy to blend into, 'cause your security is shit, your heroes are corrupt, and your people are too busy worshipping false gods to notice when something real shows up." The portal widened, ready to swallow him. "So here's my advice, Earth. Get your shit together. Stop playing pretend. 'Cause the universe is big, dangerous, and it don't give a frag about your feelings. And next time something comes through that portal," he grinned one last time, "it might not be as friendly as me." The Spaz-Frag 666 roared into the portal, dimensional fire closing behind it like a wound healing. Lobo was gone. The silence that followed was deafening. Homelander lay in the crater, staring at the sky, feeling nothing. No rage, no pride, just empty space where his identity used to be. Soldier Boy limped over, looking down at his genetic legacy with an expression that was hard to read. "Come on, kid, let's get you patched up." "Why?" Homelander's voice was hollow. "So I can go back to pretending. So everyone can watch me lose again and again." "No," Soldier Boy said quietly. "So you can figure out who you actually are when you stop trying to be what they made you." He offered his hand. For a long moment, Homelander just stared at it. Then, slowly, he reached up and took it. Miles away, Butcher watched the portal close on Grace's tablet, smoke trailing from his cigarette. "Well, that's that then." "Is it?" MM asked. "Homelander's still alive. Vaught's still operating. Nothing's actually changed." Everything's changed, Frenchie corrected, holding up the sample case. The world just watched their greatest hero get destroyed by a real threat. The illusion is broken, and we have proof that Vought was compromised at the highest level. Plus, Butcher added with a dangerous smile, Homelander just learned he ain't top of the food chain. That kind of knowledge, it changes a man. Maybe makes him more dangerous. Maybe makes him more cautious. Either way, he flicked the cigarette away. The game just got a hell of a lot more interesting. Grace's phone rang. She answered, listened, then looked at the boys with something approaching respect. That was the director. He wants everything you have on the shapeshifter. Full cooperation, full immunity for your team. Officially, you're consultants now. Consultants, repeated. That's what we're calling domestic terrorists these days? That's what we're calling the people who just saved this city from an interdimensional incident, Grace corrected. Take the win, Billy. Butcher looked at his team, battered, tired, but alive. They'd survived Homelander, Soldier Boy, a genocidal alien bounty hunter, and the collapse of multiple buildings. All right, he said. We take the win. For now. Above them, the sky was clear again, normal, like nothing had happened. But everyone knew better. The world had just learned it was smaller than it thought, and that lesson would have consequences. 3 days after the incident, officially classified as a multiversal incursion event by agencies with enough clearance to know the truth, Manhattan was still putting itself back together. Construction crews worked around the clock on the crater that used to be a building site. Insurance companies hemorrhaged money, and Vought International's stock price continued its free fall, dropping another 12% when shareholders realized their former CEO had been replaced by an alien for an indeterminate period. The media circus was unprecedented. Every news outlet ran different angles. Alien invasion thwarted, Homelander defeated, Vought compromised by extraterrestrial entity. Conspiracy theorists had a field day. Religious groups proclaimed everything from the rapture to divine judgment. And across social media, a single question dominated. If Homelander couldn't protect them, who could? The answer increasingly seemed to be no one. In a private medical facility that officially didn't exist, Homelander sat on the edge of a bed staring at his hands. They'd healed. Compound V saw to that, knitting bone and tissue back together with ruthless efficiency. Physically, he was whole again. Everything else remained broken. Ashley entered cautiously, tablet clutched to her chest like a shield. Sir, we need to discuss your public statement. The board has drafted something about get out. Sir, the shareholders are demanding. I said, get out. She fled. Homelander returned to staring at his hands, remembering how easily Lobo had broken them, how effortlessly the alien had dismantled everything he'd believed about himself. He was the strongest, the best, the peak of human evolution. Except he wasn't human, wasn't natural, and apparently wasn't even close to the peak of anything that mattered. The door opened again. This time, he didn't bother looking up. If you're here to give me another speech, save it. I'm done listening to... Good, Soldier Boy interrupted, walking in with 2 bottles of whiskey. Because I'm done talking. He tossed 1 bottle to Homelander, who caught it reflexively. We're drinking instead. I don't drink. You do now. Consider it therapy. Soldier Boy sat in the chair across from him, opened his bottle, and took a long pull. Homelander stared at his own bottle, then slowly opened it. The first sip burned. The second went down easier. They sat in silence for several minutes. You want to know the worst part? Homelander finally said, voice quiet. It's not that I lost. It's that he didn't even care. I threw everything at him, everything I am, everything I can do, and to him I was just an inconvenience, a minor annoyance before he left. Yeah, Soldier Boy agreed. That's the real bitch of it. You finally meet something stronger, and it doesn't even consider you a threat. He took another drink. I felt the same way in Nicaragua, 1984. Met a soup from Brazil. Whole different enhancement program. Beat me so bad I couldn't walk for a week. Know what he said after? Homelander looked up. He said, "You Americans think you invented power. You didn't. You just invented better marketing." Soldier Boy laughed bitterly. He was right. We're products, weapons, test subjects who got lucky enough to survive the process. But we ain't special. We never were. Then what's the point? Homelander's grip tightened on the bottle. If we're not special, if we're not the strongest, if we're just experiments that worked, what's the point of any of this? That's the question, isn't it? Soldier Boy met his eyes. I spent 80 years being America's weapon, did terrible things, killed people who deserved it and plenty who didn't, all because I believed in the mission, the purpose, the idea that I mattered. He gestured with the bottle. Then they put me on ice like a TV dinner when I became inconvenient. Know what I learned? What? The point isn't being the strongest. It's deciding what you do with the strength you have. He leaned forward. You can keep chasing power, keep trying to prove you're a god, keep breaking yourself against things tougher than you. Or you can accept what you are, a weapon that thinks, and figure out what that weapon wants to fight for. Homelander was quiet for a long moment. And what do you fight for? Honestly, I'm still figuring that out. Soldier Boy raised his bottle in a mock toast. But I've got time, so do you. That alien might have kicked your ass, but he didn't kill you. That means something. What does it mean? It means you're not worth killing, which, paradoxically, means you might be worth saving. They drank together, two broken weapons trying to figure out what they were when they weren't being aimed. Across the city, in a safe house that smelled marginally better than the last one, the boys sorted through the intelligence windfall from the shapeshifter incident. Grace Mallory had delivered files, CIA, NSA, military intelligence, all officially sanctioned now that they were consultants. "Listen to this," Frenchie said, reading from a decrypted document. The shapeshifter wasn't just hiding at Vought. It was gathering intelligence on Earth's enhanced individuals. Power levels, weaknesses, genetic structures. It transmitted data through quantum entanglement to somewhere outside our dimensional space. So, something else knows about us, said grimly. Something out there is cataloging Earth's soups like we're specimens in a zoo. More like test subjects, Huey corrected, looking pale. If that thing was sending data about Compound V, about how we create soups artificially, what's to stop others from coming here? What's to stop an invasion? Nothing, Butcher said flatly. Except they'd probably find us more trouble than we're worth. Lobo was right about one thing. Our soups are shit compared to what's out there. We're a backwater planet with delusions of grandeur. Kimiko signed. Frenchie translated. She says maybe that's good. Maybe being unimportant keeps us safe. Or maybe, Grace said, entering the safe house with more files, it means we need to prepare for the possibility that we're not unimportant. Not anymore. She dropped the files on the table. These are from deep space monitoring stations. In the 72 hours since Lobo left, we've detected 3 separate dimensional anomalies near Earth's orbit. All of them closed before we could investigate, but the signature matches the portal that brought him here. The room went silent. You're saying more are coming, Butcher said. I'm saying the door's been opened, and now things know we're here. Ran a hand over his face. So what's the play? We can't fight aliens. We can barely fight Homelander. We don't fight them, Grace said. We adapt. We prepare. We stop pretending our little soup conflicts are the biggest threats out there. She looked at each of them in turn. Vaught's compromised. The 7 are broken. Homelander's questioning everything he thought he knew. For the first time in decades, there's an opportunity to rebuild how this world handles enhanced individuals. We do it right, or we become a target for every bounty hunter and cosmic entity that decides Earth looks interesting. No pressure then, Huey muttered. Butcher lit a cigarette, thinking. The game had changed. The players had changed. But the mission, stopping those who abused power, protecting those who couldn't protect themselves, that remained the same. All right, he said finally. We do it smart. We use Vaught's chaos to build something better. We take Grace's intel and prepare for whatever comes next. And we make damn sure that next time some alien bastard drops into our world. He smiled grimly. We're ready to give him a proper Earth welcome. Meaning? asked. Meaning we learn from Lobo. We stop relying on Compound V and corporate heroes. We build real defenses, real intelligence networks, real weapons. He looked at his team. We become what this planet actually needs. Not heroes, not vigilantes, but soldiers in a war most people don't even know is coming. Outside the safe house, the sun set over Manhattan, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. The city rebuilt. Life continued. People went back to their routines, their jobs, their carefully maintained illusions of normalcy. But in the halls of power, in the secret facilities, in the minds of those who'd witnessed the truth, everything had changed. Vought scrambled to maintain control while bleeding executives and credibility. The government established new protocols for extraterrestrial threats. Scientists studied the shapeshifters' remains, unlocking secrets about life beyond Earth. And across social media, a movement grew, people demanding accountability, demanding honesty, demanding to know what else their leaders had hidden. The age of soups as gods was dying. What would replace it remained to be seen. In his penthouse, Homelander stood at the window looking out at the city that had watched him fall. Soldier Boy's words echoed in his mind. Decide what you do with the strength you have. He'd been created to be perfect, America's greatest hero, humanity's protector. But he'd never been asked what he wanted to be, never given the choice. Maybe it was time to choose. Maybe it was time to stop being what they made him and become something else entirely. The question was, what? In the quantum foam between dimensions, reality rippled. Portals opened and closed, invisible to human detection. And across the multiverse, word spread. Earth had been marked, catalogued, identified as a world worth watching. Some saw opportunity, others saw threat. A few saw entertainment, but all agreed on one thing. The humans' comfortable isolation was ending. The main man had done his job and departed. The bounty was claimed, the mission complete. But in doing so, he'd ripped away the veil, and the universe was full of things that loved to prey on newly exposed worlds. The world didn't end when Lobo left. It just stopped pretending. Within a month, Vought International underwent the largest corporate restructuring in history. The board, desperate to salvage what remained of shareholder confidence, announced complete transparency initiatives that fooled no one but provided enough legal cover to avoid total collapse. Ashley Barrett lasted 3 more weeks before suffering a stress-induced breakdown and being quietly relocated to a facility in Switzerland. The 7 were officially suspended pending internal review, which was corporate speak for "we have no idea what to do with them anymore." Homelander disappeared from public view entirely. Rumors circulated. Some claimed he'd gone into hiding, others that he'd been institutionalized. A few conspiracy theorists insisted he'd left Earth entirely. The truth was simpler and somehow sadder. He was in a remote facility in Montana undergoing something Vaught's psychologists called identity reconstruction therapy, but what Soldier Boy bluntly termed figuring out who the fuck you are when you're not pretending to be Superman. The footage of their fight with Lobo had been viewed over 3 billion times across every platform. It spawned a generation of memes, think pieces, and genuine philosophical debates about humanity's place in a larger universe. Religious institutions wrestled with theological implications. Governments established new agencies, the Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative, the Multiversal Security Council, with budgets that dwarfed NASA's. And in classrooms across the world, children stopped drawing pictures of Homelander and started drawing pictures of stars, of alien worlds, of possibilities beyond their small planet. The boys, now operating with official sanction as consultants to multiple 3-letter agencies, found themselves in the strange position of being respectable. Hated it. Butcher found it useful. Frenchie enjoyed having access to better equipment. Kimiko remained Kimiko, silent, efficient, and utterly unbothered by titles or legitimacy. Huey tried to convince himself they were actually making a difference, and some days he almost believed it. The shapeshifter's remains yielded secrets that would take decades to fully understand. Its biology operated on principles that defied conventional science. Its technology was centuries ahead of anything Earth had developed. And most disturbing of all, analysis of its neural structure revealed fragmented memories of dozens of worlds it had infiltrated, catalogued, and reported on to entities whose purposes remained unknown. Earth had been studied, measured, logged in some cosmic database as a world of interest. And Lobo's parting words, his brutal assessment that Earth's soups were nothing compared to what existed out there, had fundamentally shifted humanity's perspective. The governments of the world, so long focused on containing domestic-enhanced individuals, now faced an uncomfortable truth. They'd been preparing for the wrong threat. Compound V research accelerated, but with a new focus. Not creating heroes for corporate profit, but developing actual defenses against extraterrestrial incursion. Not building gods, but building soldiers who understood they were just one species among countless others. The age of naive supremacy was over. In Brooklyn, at a bar that catered to people who'd seen too much and talked too little, Billy Butcher raised a glass to absent friends and present enemies. The boys sat around him, his team, his responsibility, his unlikely family. "To Lobo," he said with a grim smile. "The alien bastard who kicked our asses, killed our shapeshifter, and gave us the wake-up call this whole fraggin' planet needed." They drank. "Think he'll come back?" Huey asked. "Nah," Butcher said. "He got his bounty, got his money. No reason to return to a backwater like Earth." He paused. "But something else will. And when it does, we'll be ready." "Will we?" asked quietly. It was the question that mattered. The question that kept Grace Mallory up at night, that motivated the scrambling governments, that haunted anyone who truly understood what had happened. "We'll have to be," Butcher answered, "because the alternative is extinction." Somewhere in the vast darkness between dimensions, the Spaz Frag 666 roared through the quantum foam, carrying its rider toward the next bounty, the next fight, the next world that thought it understood power. Lobo didn't think about Earth, didn't wonder what consequences his visit had triggered, didn't care about the philosophical crisis he'd left in his wake. He'd done the job. That was enough. But as he gunned the throttle and disappeared into the cosmic night, reality rippled behind him. Tiny fractures in the dimensional barriers, microscopic cracks that wouldn't seal completely. Doorways that had been opened just slightly, just enough for things to notice, just enough for things to follow. Earth's isolation had ended with a roar and a laugh and a bounty claimed. What came next would determine if humanity's species would adapt, evolve, and claim its place among the stars, or if it would become a cautionary tale told in alien bars across 1,000 worlds. The planet that discovered the universe too late to matter. The main man was gone. The bounty was claimed. The lesson was delivered. Now came the test of whether anyone had learned it. New worlds await. More stories soon.